muted. I was on mute. All right, but here I am, and here we go. So I did some homework since last time we met. I actually just refactored a couple of things. I promised that I would refactor the mess I had with just one main Go file with 1,000 lines, or I don't know, a few hundred lines, and just created a few modules like API controllers and Flux. So like the get Flux state. Is my screen on the stream? No. Yes, it is now. So factored a bunch of things into modules, and the get Flux state is now part of the Flux package. And on the front-end side of things, I actually added Redux just to have like a global state manager kind of thing. Not the test part, but yeah, you will see shortly. That's basically, yeah, I think I'm going to go to the source code and show it there. So let's go straight to the code. And basically, if I start the backend, it starts listening for Flux events, and it gets streamed to the front end. And on the front end, what happens is there is a backend component and a streaming component that are registered on the application. So when you first start the app, we get the Flux state, and then we dispatch the data into Redux. And the same happens when there is an update. Something happens in the cluster, it gets streamed to the front end with a WebSocket connection. And on message, it also dispatches a message to Redux. I didn't fully test this, or I think the streaming part will not work 100%. So I think first I'm going to test that. But I just want to say, show you that so the store has all state, and right now I just subscribe to updates here, and I just console log the state. So whenever I refresh this wonderful application, it calls the backend on /API/Flux state, which then calls the Kubernetes API server. Everything is returned, Flux related stuff, and then it goes to the API and it goes to Redux, and this subscribe thing, store.subscribe, actually logs out the state, which has basically two fields, gitrepositories and kustomizations, which are Flux custom resources. So that's cool. And I'm going to iterate on this a little bit. And the goal for today is most likely to display it on the UI. And just let's look at it first, like what's the data in here. It's a full spec Kubernetes resource, so it's a very lengthy one. But I found something interesting. I did some homework and reading on this. So on the status field, there are conditions which could be, capturing various states of this customization. I will show you the states shortly. For example, here you can see that state type ready. This is a ready condition. Status true. Reason reconciliation succeeded. It's basically what you see when you get customizations. Now let me close this. And here. Basically, this is a ready condition true. And this status is the condition message. And how do I know that? That's actually interesting. The CRD definition. So if I get the CRD and grab on Flux and I print the customization. So like get CRD customization in YAML, and let's make it searchable. If I search for the ready field, so this is cool. So like the custom resource of Kubernetes tells what to be printed on a kubectl get. So as you can see, additional printer columns, age, ready, status. Ready is a condition in the status field. If type is equals ready, then print the status of that, true or false. And then the status string basically is the same conditions message. So what you have seen here, ready condition, status true, please print that under ready, and status condition message, please print that under status. So if I just get it again, ready is true, status is applied revision, blah, blah, blah. So actually we found the data model from the custom resource status field, what's been printed on the CLI. So that's pretty cool because we can reuse large chunk of this. And I was doing a code search on GitHub, which sucks, by the way, but still I was able to find, I was just searching for reconciliation succeeded because this is the most common thing that you see with Flux. And I found the place which, or where Flux, it has a reconcile function, which does everything in the customization controller. And at the end, it sets this ready condition. So it has a helper, create a condition and mark it true. Type is ready condition. This is probably the what? Sorry, the reason. Yes. So that was the reason, and this is the message. So if I go to the mark true, it takes. Yeah, I think I also cloned this because it is quite complicated. So I'm in the controller and I'm gonna go mark true. And here it takes a reason and a message format. And actually I was always in trouble like finding the reference of all Flux states or reasons actually, because the ready condition can take true or false. And actually there's a ready condition and the stalled condition, which is, we will soon see what that means. And then there is the reconciling condition. So there are 3 different conditions here. And I think this is the only thing that drives the state. And that the reasons are, I was searching for conditions dot here. And it's pretty cool actually what the Flux people did here. And so this is the reconcile method again, or function. I don't know what it's really called, but this is reconcile, which differs the function. So this is being called at the end. And if condition is ready, then this is the log line people often see in the customized controller. If I would get the logs of that. I would find the reconciliation finished in blah, blah, blah milliseconds. And this is what's being printed here all the time. And this is where it's generated. And also it logs the revision. So, so this is the message. And this is some structured logging fields, I believe. So reconciliation finished. This is the message. Controller is one field. And the revision is another one. So structured logs, we love them. I actually have to make my logs structured, but that's going to be a refactor or even a pull request or something from others. And it also emits an event. I think this is a Kubernetes event that Flux emits every time something was. Every time there was a reconciliation round. So I think if I get the customizations and I describe this customization in the Flux system namespace, I should see all these events. Yeah. Reason age from message. Yeah, this is the revision. This is message. Yeah. Yeah, so you get it. So basically, this is the place where if a reconciliation of Flux is finished, it actually logs and emits an event. So that's why we say that Flux is Kubernetes native. So that's pretty cool. From Flux, CRDs are utilized to the fullest. So I love it. So this was the first condition thing. Remember, I wanted to see where these condition helpers like isReady and mark false and all that are used. And it's pretty cool because, for example, if I get the source and there is an error, it actually marks the ready condition as false and then has a reason, artifact failed reason. And if I go here, oh, not here, sorry. Back here, I can see all the different reasons. Healthy condition, prune failed reason, artifact failed reason, build failed, health check, blah, 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 and reconciliation succeeded or failed. So most of the time there is a mark false with all the different error kinds, access denied, artifact failed, blah, blah, blah. There's an interesting one, mark unknown. So this one is the infamous reconciliation in progress, when you have no idea whether your Flux is going to fail or not, your apply basically. And this is pretty cool that I found this. I am much more confident now because I'm able to reason about the state machine, Flux, kustomizations, and all custom resources for that matter go through. I think even in Gimlet right now, there's a bunch of string matching. I think I didn't do this homework when I incorporated the Flux state thing in Gimlet. So this is interesting, like the ready condition mark unknown. What does this mean? Unknown condition. Yeah, it's just says unknown. So sometimes the ready condition has the status unknown. And this is actually a different condition. Reason is progressing reason. So the custom resource can have multiple conditions applied to it. So if I come here, there is just one condition right now, but maybe when I'm going to change the customization on the cluster, this will have multiple conditions like ready state unknown and reconciliation, blah, blah, blah. So 2 or 3 could happen at the same time. So that's pretty cool. Or not cool, it's actually a little bit more complicated than I would have expected at first, but I understand that the complexity of Flux demands it. So that's good. Again, just a bunch of ready condition false, basically error handling, another reconciliation. Oh, look, another progressing message. I've never seen this one, but apparently if you get the resource at the right moment, you will see it. All right, and at the very bottom of everything, there is the mark true with applied revision. And while I was browsing this data structure, besides conditions, I found something very interesting. Last applied revision, last attempted revision. So the last applied revision is set right before the ready condition was set to true. So basically this is the git hash that was applied. So we don't have to, cut it out from the reconciliation succeeded message and so on. It is here in a field, so that's cool. And the last attempted revision is something that Flux sets a little bit earlier, right before or right after it gets the source artifact, and it starts building the manifests and then later on applying. So I believe we have a very good understanding of what's going on in Flux. And that is very much required. So what's next? Actually, I wanted to open this inventory thing, because this inventory is way down the line will be useful for us, because inventory is the list of things that this customization applies on the cluster. So it's pretty much just Flux here, like a namespace and the CRDs and blah, blah, blah. But later on, all the deployments that we have will be listed here. So we will be able to, figure out what was deployed by what and so on. All right. So now that we have a very good understanding of the data model, I think I want to test the streaming, because I think that is broken. So my favorite test case is I break the URL of this, and I see a bunch of errors, because actually I did almost the right thing, but not quite. So streaming backend on message. On message just passes everything, or moves it, or dispatches it to Redux. And inside Redux, what we see is that in Redux, it does not have a type property. So actually, the way I forward this is a little bit crude. In the API backend, I have this object here. So ideally, I would do something like this, but I don't know the type of the event or the streamed thing. So the backend should utilize something similar. So I really want to just forward the message, and I will fix the backend to stream it in the right format. And if you recall, we have controllers, like a Git repository controller. If anything happens to my custom resource, first of all, it prints a bunch of changes in the resource messages. It gets the full state. So we are not doing deltas, not streaming deltas. Instead, we always stream everything, because that's just easier for us. However, this requires a little bit of typing. So let me create a struct just to put things into types. New file, types.go, package streaming, type, streaming envelope, which has a type field of string, and I need to borrow something. This JSON flag. And and I think maybe payload. Is this how it should be? In the regular, yes, we have type and payload. And inside Redux, and I will soon show you Redux, what is going on inside, but yeah, we need a payload. Okay. Big payload, small payload. Okay. All right, and here where we stream the Git repositories or the Flux state, Actually, I want to marshal this into a streaming dot. Let's just call it an envelope because streaming is already part of the package. Envelope has two fields. One is type, which is so Redux has a switch on types. And action flux state received. Yeah, let's just call it flux state received. And here I'm going to maintain this in the types. I've seen a great practice here in const block flux state received, which is a string with value flux state received. What's wrong with this? Const okay. The type is going to be streaming.flux state received, and the payload is going to be flux state, which should be a string. So let me format this. Or maybe I can do an interface type here. I really hope it will format it the right way or serialize it the right way. So how about I do interface, and here this is suddenly good. I'm not sure whether this will be serialized in a good way. So let me see. Let's change it again. Okay, and then flux state bytes, and the string. Oh, the string of it is. Oh, it is serialized. I'm good with that. So breakpoint released, and front end. What do you say? Yes. Let me refresh. Okay, and change it again. Amazing. So even the streaming is now updating the global application state. So that is cool. And we can actually observe what things are changing here. So there's a Git repository here with status. Let's start somewhere here. Git repository object status conditions. Reconciling ready fetch failed artifact in storage. All four. So reconciling true, ready false, fetch failed true, artifact in storage true. And there is this meta information with observed generation. So that could be interesting. So it used to have the artifact, and now it doesn't. Let's move down. This is pretty much the same. This is the same. And then down here. Can I make this larger? Perhaps I can. This is status conditions. This is the same. And it says that it's still reconciling, I guess, because this is polling or trying to make things right, or trying to probably back off and from time to time get it again. Ready false, fetch failed true, and then what does fetch failed say? Yeah, this is a great error message here. So the ready condition is going to be key for us. Okie dokie. And we have the state in the global state. So I think I'm going to start rendering things pretty soon. Let me see what we have changed. Okay. So Redux. It is actually quite easy. It has an interface. So basically, whenever the application starts up and we create a capacitor client and so on, we create a store with a root reducer. So basically, every time something being broadcasted into or dispatched into Flux, Flux runs an event handler and it maintains a state. The initial state is a JavaScript object with Flux state being initialized to an empty object. And every time something happens, this function is called. And based on the action type, like there is Flux state received, there is an action or event handler, it gets the state and it gets the payload and returns the state. So this is a function. And we look at if we look at the unit tests of it, it makes perfect sense. So this is Flux state or a message, like it's being a new state being received with 2 Git repositories. Each of them is an empty object. We call the reducer the same thing that Redux would do, and we expect that the data model has changed. Basically, the event handler just updated the Flux state to the payload that we received. So that's it. And with the store, you can subscribe to updates. So every component inside your React application can subscribe to these changes, and you don't have to, I don't know, pass things through props or I don't know what else there is. But with this global reference, you can get real-time updates, and then you can trigger re-renders. So if we change this wonderful animation to something more meaningful. For some reason it is centered. I'm gonna delete the CSS and everything. We're gonna use Tailwind CSS later on, but I will do the plumbing outside of the stream because it's probably just meaningless. So app.js. Good. It's better. Index CSS. Yeah, some basic format, whatever. All right, and now that we have, I'm gonna close this. I don't think we need this Flux source code. And every time, there is a change in the state, we should update a local state. So we need state in the app. Or actually, I'm gonna start a new component here. Let's call it flux state.js, which flux state, and then export default flux state, and it gets props. I think this is how it's done with functional React. And inside it returns something, obviously, some JSX return. Let's try to put this on screen. Good. Now we made a component that does nothing. And I think it's going to get us a prop called store, so it can subscribe. And it's going to use a state. When we subscribe, we are going to do something here. But before that, React use state. Yes. So first of all, let's call it flux state. That's the internal state. We are going to have a setter called get set flux state, and the default value of that is going to be store.getState.fluxState. And the reason why we can do this without any null checks is because in Redux we have an initial state with an empty object. So if we do this, it's just going to work. And when we subscribe to the stored for updates, what we are going to do is that we are going to basically call set flux state with the updated flux state. So just with these lines, we have the local flux state variable that we can start render. So how about I'm gonna console log flux state and remove this subscribe completely from here. Use state is not defined. Yes. What else? Store is not defined because that is a props store. Let's do something like equals props. Does this work? Const. How do you do this spread thing? JavaScript. I do this multiple times. Ah, yes, it's good. It's just I have to do it earlier. good. And here I am logging out the Flux state as many times the view is re-rendered. All right. And if we start rendering something large, fluxstate.map, and then fluxstate.gitrepositories.map. That can be undefined, so maybe I need this. I'm not sure. Map git repository, which then returns some JSX. And here git repository dot name, perhaps. Like this. No, it doesn't have name, obviously. It has a complex thing. So eventually I will parse everything in Go and just feed down the right structs. For now, I'm going to do metadata dot name. So it was that. Metadata dot name. Let's see. It's called Flux system. Yes, good. And I don't need this at all. All right, this is the name, and then we also need a namespace. And this needs it needs a key, and it's actually the key is going to be the exact same thing, because that's unique in Kubernetes. So if I refresh, everything's fine. So this is the Git repository I have, and let's do a header to and then let's print customizations as well. All right, so we are doing some rendering here. This is obviously just some dummy rendering, so I will have code to copy and paste later on. I would need Tailwind CSS basically right now, so I might integrate it on this stream, I might not. Not sure. Let's see. What else I want to print? I want to print the the conditions, really, I just want to have the same thing as here, which has a very nice JSON path thing, if you remember, get CRD. And if I search for ready, yeah, this is so nice. I mean, can I do this in JavaScript? I can probably. So JavaScript JSON path. It's a library. I don't want libraries. If it's called JavaScript object notation, I would love if JSON path would be just part of it. Yeah, whatever, I will add this package. It's going to be the same. All right. Mm-hmm. 1,600,000 downloads a week. The perfect malware placement candidate. And can I import this? Like regular JavaScript people do. Let's see. So if I do import JP from JSON path, and if I do actually const ready equals JP query gitrepository dot conditions, or just let's steal it from the CRD. Status conditions, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Git repository is the object, and this is the query itself. I would be so surprised if this works. Refresh. JSON path. Unexpected token. Is this how it's done? It should be in quotations. Refresh. Yeah, that. How do I import this? The beauty of JavaScript is having like 5 different ways to import packages. I don't want to use require.js. I want to do an import like I normally do. Yes, ES6 style, please. Dropping the braces. Dropping the braces. I have no idea what it means to have the braces or to not have the braces, but I dropped it. Okay, this is getting better. Expecting dollar star identify. Yeah, because it should be, this move should be moved here, and this should be, yeah. How about this? Yeah, because this is an array, so please work. So JSON path. Don't tell me this is a different syntax. Yeah. So what's the difference here? I need a dollar sign maybe. Oh yes. Oh look. JSON path. So how should I format this? Should this be a... Yeah, I told you that I do not do tables, but heck, I'm gonna do tables just for now. So HTML tables. Yeah, love this. Back in the 2000s, creating designs with tables. The best thing. All right, so first is name and namespace. So yeah, people know what this is. This is the ready column. and then there's going to be a message. So the CRD defines the message like this. So here, const message equals JP query git repository status, and then actually it's the same, just do the message. Message. All right, and this is called status. Let's call it status. There's the URL as well. Let's display the URL as well. All right, and before that, URL. Before that, namespace and name. Let's do it that way. All right. And I have to move these things outside. No div. This is going to be a table row, tr, with key this. All right, so this is a table, isn't it? Yeah. All right. And I need the URL. So where is the URL? Spec URL. Amazing. Okay. And good. And if I start changing stuff, so let me just make this small and to the right, to the left. And if I change the Git repository, I should see this flashing. Yes, yes, amazing. I'm going to do the same for the same thing for customizations, just for the fun of it. And then I'm not sure what's going to happen next. So customizations, please display a table. So I promised you that I will not do tables, and that's the irony, right? And I'm going to get there, but not in the first iteration. Replicating kubectl is actually kind of fun. Amazing. And if I change again something, for example, if I push a commit here, so project capacitor infra and code, what should I change? Like make the interval 11 minutes. And if I push it, it will not immediately work because I made this error. But if I add it, good. This is stored an artifact revision and applied it. And it was too fast to catch, or what? No, actually, I haven't pushed. I did not push. Before I do that, let me just here, let's find the revision, which was status last applied revision or what? Object status last applied revision. What? Customization status last applied revision. Okay. And now I push the change. I think the sync interval is 1 minute or something. Unknown, reconciliation in progress. This is the new hash. This is the old hash. And it's applied here and it's not applied here. What? Yes, it's because I have not subscribed for customization events. It's only circumstantial that I got this update because the Git repository was updated in the meantime. So I need to write a new controller, just a 5 minutes thing. So this actually gets the updates timely. Cool. Things are progressing. Tabular rendering of Flux state And this deserves a facepalm. Let's check this emoji. Nice. Good. So I need to do something here. I need to write this controller for customizations, which is a rather easy thing to do. Copy and paste. I'm pretty sure others can do some generics trick. I don't, and I don't care. So here, actually the get flux state has this type already. This is the thing. Group version resource, group version resource. And let's call it customize controller, which takes a dynamic client to access Kubernetes, a client hub reference. And this is going to be I think. And then it wants to get a customization resource. And on every change, please get everything Flux and stream it to the front end. Boom. That was it. And now, if I refresh this, and if I, oh, what's wrong? Table row cannot appear as a child of table. Add the T-body, T-head, T-foot. Roger that. T-body. This is T-head or something. Yeah, T-head. Better. TH cannot appear as a child of T-head. Oh, come on. Welcome to the 2000s. What was wrong? Huh. Not? Okay, sorry. I have to move it. Like this. Whatever. Now the T-body. Yes. All right, and now we have the streaming. So another test. Let's push a commit. Capacitor infra code. Right, and git push origin main. Wait a minute until this refreshes. Maybe the next thing that I'm going to implement is going to be the Flux reconcile CLI command, putting a button on the front end so we could on demand reconcile things. This is going to be very helpful later on and in the end product as well, like giving a kick. Every time there is an error or something, it increases the trust in the system. All right. Reconciliation in progress. And this is applied and this is not reacting. Huh. I am puzzled. What's wrong? I have not started the customization controller. I think the whole time I was echoing like crazy, but I think I solved it. Good. So I still have to start the controller on the main Go. I forgot to start it and instantiate it. So here, this is going to be the customization controller. And I'm going to create a customization controller. And I'm going to start the customization controller. And if I restart, yeah, this is not initialized. No, that's something else. Anyways, so now if I make a change, just revert this. Someone is not watching the stream and calling me instead. And the new hash is 51111 instead of 56. So it should be 51 the moment it pings GitHub. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that was it. That was a pretty nice reconciliation loop here. So let's make a commit. Uh-oh. I don't need this. Instead, let's put this on git ignore. Great. This is going super fast. I have no idea what to add next. This is a good checkpoint here. I could add Tailwind CSS, but I think I'm going to do that outside of the stream. I could do the reconcile button and also I can create a component that is capturing the overall health of all customization and stuff in like a big green circle. So more product-y stuff, but I think I'm gonna do some thinking and designing outside of the stream and then implement it next time. I'm gonna look into this Flux reconcile button because I'm just curious. So if I go FluxCD and the CLI, is it a separate project? No. Maybe it's part of Flux too. Yeah, CMD Flux. This is the CLI, and there is reconcile here. Yes, reconcile go. It takes a Kubernetes client. It gets something. Yeah, it gets a customization by name, so probably that's an input. I don't even know if I have a Flux CLI at the moment here. Version 2.12, that's the latest. Flux reconcile with a C. And reconcile command. Yeah, I can kick multiple things, and I most likely want to kick customization or a source, because sometimes, or a ham release. All right, so you can kick multiple things. Flux reconcile, customization. And then the name, bit source, that is handy. Amazing, I love this. So this is what I want to track down in the source code. I was here. So it takes customization name, and in the Kubernetes client, it gets the customization, checks if it's suspended or not. Yeah, that's good. And it annotates. Aha. Maybe that's the only trick it needs. Annotating something called X in the namespace Y. So maybe reconciliation is just annotating a resource. Okay, and it annotates it. And waits for a ready condition. Let's just try this. So if I reconcile Flux system, annotating Git repository Flux system, yes. Git repository annotated, waiting for reconciliation, fetched, and then annotating the customization. Amazing. So how should I replicate this? It's nice that whenever waiting is called, that's a triangle. Whenever success is called, no, waiting is a circle, and success is the tick mark. What's triangle? That's action. Cool. I love this code base. Success annotated. Yes. All right. And the request annotation or request reconciliation, where is that? In this file? In this file, yes. Okay. So I could take this code as it is. It's Apache 2 and with the right license marks and so on. So that's good. And the feature is simple, but what should happen in the UI? So at some point, I'm going to need like a place where I can log results and stream ongoing processes. All right. Maybe right now I just put a button here to reconcile and I just don't stream too much to the front end. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Let's try it. So I need an API endpoint for that, which is in API router, API flux state, API reconcile. And it's called the reconcile handler. All right, it returns OK or error. And this is the first time I'm doing this on stream. So if anybody knows a better open source practice, oh, there are some friends here. Hey, Lars. All right. So you're happy for the feature. Do you want with source all the time? I don't know. I mean, for starters, yes, because I will not have a feature to reconcile just sources and then customizations. I think overall this UI is going to be, I don't know. I could split the feature. Right now it's gonna be everything. Flux is super awesome. I've not watched the first two streams, but are we just using Flux CLI on the backend for our API calls? And so not necessarily. First, just to get this UI state, I was just using regular Kubernetes API calls because this is a custom resource. So actually I can show it to you. So there is a Flux Go, which takes a Kubernetes client and returns this structure, which has Git repositories and customizations. And I just use this regular Kubernetes client, which is not regular in a sense that this is a custom resource. So it needs some gymnastics to convert types and whatnot. But this is plain Kubernetes API call. And then I was also writing a controller, which is streaming the results here. This was the first time that I actually looked into the CLI code base, like how it does it. And underneath, this is also just Kubernetes because it annotates stuff in the Kubernetes API. So yes, in one sense, this is CLI code. In other sense, it's all Kubernetes because Flux is Kubernetes native. So it's pretty cool, and yeah, you can do all kinds of things. But right now, I'm actually, I just want to take this for a spin. So I'm gonna create a Flux CLI Go, a separate file because I want to take their licensing notes and whatnot. And again, if somebody knows how to better do this, let me know if I'm doing something wrong. I'm not intending to, so yeah. Okie dokie, so here I'm gonna reconcile or request a reconciliation. It requires meta v1 from Kubernetes. And client go retry. Let's go get it. Quick fix. Yes, it's fixed. And that's that. Maybe I leave a link to this. Yeah, with hash information as well, because at some point it's going to be very difficult to track it down. So where was it? CMD Flux, reconcile go, and then request reconciliation. Yeah. And is that it? We'll see. And from API Go, I'm going to call flux.request reconciliation, which takes a context, which is this context, takes a kube client. Okay. I think we're gonna have that, but then a namespace name and group version and kind. Where is this dash source? We'll see later. So we need a Kubernetes client. We have a dynamic client in the context, but we probably should have a normal client as well. And let's call it kube client, or I actually don't have it anymore. It's part of the history. So let's look at earlier commits before the refactoring. Here I used to have something called I don't have it in this revision. Yeah. I never had it. Maybe in earlier versions. No, this is just README. Oh, come on. right, then Kubernetes client go get pods. All right, client set. It's called a client set. So client set. Let's pass it to the router. The type of it is client.client set, Kubernetes.client set. And let's add it to the context. Like this. Yes, and now we can... What's wrong? All right. Now we can get it. Client set. All right. And it's a client.client. Huh. What is client? V2 internal utils. I actually became pretty tired by now. So I think I'm just going to wrap this API call up, and most likely I'm going to call it today. But let's see. It needs a group version and kind. So if I steal this customization thingy, or yeah, it's a struct. Okay. Group version. I can copy this. The kind. Yeah, I think this will work. Kind of. Kind is capital customization. All right, and it's only the client set that is having issues, because yes, client.client, what is this? I think I'm going to stop the stream because I am failing to comment what I'm doing. Instead, I will try to wrap this API call up, and at that point, I'm going to have a Flux reconcile button on the front end, and I already have a streamed tabular view of Flux resources. So this is a pretty cool thing to have in like 3 streams, which is like 6 hours at most. So that is that, and hope that next time I'm going to be able to do more producty stuff. I think we have a lot of things in place. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to start the repo. See you, everyone.